Hi and welcome to another video. Just as we were doing all of our removals, moving stuff in and out of the house, the main house door lock decided to lock us in. Literally. So this is the culprit door. So as you can see, no lock on this side. And I had to remove this piece of trim, quite a long trim that goes all the way, and it goes up and down the whole door lock. So the new one just turned up, so we're going to install the new one in place. And this is such an old school lock, it took a little while to try and find the correct one. That's obviously wrong. So we need to make sure something's not right here, because this should be, hold on a minute. Yeah, it's wrong. I think we can turn this around though. This top section, you unscrew it and you spin it all the way around. So that's what we're going to do. Right, that's the first thing to do. Boop, boop. Right, so now we have this little bit facing the right direction. Before it was the other way, so it would have been wrong. And this is the old one, the culprit. Even though now it's moving in and out. And if you look at this, it's not moving as much. So if you look at that versus that, how much that moves in and out, it's totally broken. So what's supposed to happen is, let me try and find the handle bits. Hold on 2 seconds. So this is how it should work, right? So when you pull this latch down, it should release that. And that was our main issue. When with the old one, you'd pull the handle down and that would actually stay out, so it broke off. There's the metal piece that come out of it. So when you turn this, it does nothing to this. It's totally nowhere near connected to each other. So now that we've got the right one, we're going to go ahead and replace it. I did actually manage to damage this a little bit in the process. We're going to file that down a little bit to make sure it all fits exactly as it should. It shouldn't be a big deal. Other than that, we've got everything to put it back together. Everything, I put all the screws in separate bags so I don't get them mixed up. Let's crack on, get it on, and make sure it works. Whoop, whoop. Right, so we're now fitted, or kind of, partially fitted anyway. So if you look, there's a separate plate. Oops, just dropped the spring. There's a separate plate from here, comes down to there. That's a separate plate specifically for this section where just the main lock is, basically, right? So let's just see better. There we go. Right, so this is the new lock. Just fitted that, or the new locking mechanism, which is this, but that's the new one. Have I missed? No, I haven't. So this little thread that you see here, that's going to be holding this big plate in place once it goes all the way up and down. Now you can also see the bottom section, which is separate. This is just the locking mechanism in itself. And then there's another one, there's another two, one there and one there. So they're all separate. You can separately, individually, if you have issues with them, you can also simply just have them replaced. So, you know, it's not just this section you can replace. You can literally replace every single lock in the firing line, basically. Right, so next job is to do this. As you can tell, we used a pair of pliers on it and damaged it a little bit, which is fine, it's repairable. I've got my filing set here, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to file these edges that are sticking out. Then that's it. That will get it all back to how it should be. So let's crack on doing that. Whoop, whoop. A couple of things to pay attention to. One, the length of these square parts that slot into these holes for the handle. Another thing is that there is a spring. This little spring sits inside this hole so that it puts tension onto this and it won't bounce back out, right? Because they're in two separate sections. In some handle things, they're separate to each other, but on this occasion it seems that they are not separate. Also, I've just noticed something. I'm wondering if that bit there is meant to be, like, it can't be. No, it's definitely not right. Yeah, okay. So one thing is you can't push this through all the way through this little mechanism here, but you can push it that way, but you can't push it that way because there's a stopper there that stops it from traveling further, so it won't poke all the way through. Keep that in mind. And also, when you're putting these in, one of them, because if you look at this mechanism, it's thicker on this side than it is on this side. So therefore, the one on this side is going to be longer because it's got more to reach, versus the one on this side, it's got less to reach. So make sure that you don't mix them up like I did. Because when I fit, I was like, something don't seem right. So anyway, that's sorted now. So basically, this is the internal handle, and obviously you've got to make sure this locking hole or the keyhole is at the bottom and the handle is facing the right direction, which in this case it will be that way, and this one is facing that way, which is correct. And then we're going to put the spring in the hole like that, so Right, so then we make sure that this section lines up with the spring into the hole, and make sure the handle is perfectly in line, and voila. And as you can tell, when you push on that, it comes back up, and that's what you should do. The spring keeps tension on it. Right, and then we're going to put it up in place like this. Oh, and then the other one falls off. Right, I need two hands for this, so I'll be back. Right, so we are now on, and obviously I'm not going to use the mechanism yet because it's that panel is not screwed in all the way, so it will all be loose, especially at the top here. You can see it's already come apart, so we'll push that back in, and then that should allow us to operate the lock. So you can see it's now pulling exactly as it should, and then when you do that, all the other locks engage and then pull back, and that's when this comes out, that bit there. Okay, so the next thing to do is to put the actual lock in place, which is this. Now if you look down it, you'll see this little plastic bit there is sticking out, that bit there. So what you have to do for that is you need the key, which is not in my pocket, but it is here. Right, so here we go. Should be this key. So we're going to put that in the hole, and now you'll see that you can move this around like that. So you line it up so that it's not sticking out in any shape or form, and then we're just going to push it through the hole, and then you're going to basically line it up with this hole here. That hole there needs to line up, and there is a screw that we have, and I've just realised the wrong way. So obviously one thing I should have accounted for is Again, one side is longer, one side is shorter. And the shorter side has to be on the inside, longer side, this side, has to be on the outside. So we're going to redo that again. This time round, we're going to make sure we get it right, aren't we? And line it up together with the actual bloody lock. Here we go. Right, so now you can, hold on, 1 second, let me switch on, go back to normal mode, switch on the light, and there you can see, kind of, we are lined up with the hole there, and it's in the actual lock. There we are. Right, now we need that screw which holds the lock in place. Now that, where's that screw? That's the important thing. Right, let me find it. Right, something else you got to pay attention to. Now that I've got that screw in place, to be fair, it could do with a new screw, but it's okay for now. So as you pull this handle, you can't remove or reinstall this screw, but if you pull it like this, it lines it back up, so you can actually undo the screw, so keep that in mind. Right, now we're installed, that at least that lock hole works, and the only thing that doesn't work at the moment, or it does, but we just need to screw this panel, and this little, I say little, quite long bar that needs to be installed. So as you can tell, it should all line up like with the top lock. Actually, we need to undo the locks because otherwise it won't work. Now the question is, which way around is this? This way around. So if you look at this, it's got countersunk screws, which means if you put it this way around, you can't get that, all the screws will protrude. So you don't want to do that. So you need to make sure it's the right way around with the countersunk screws, like this. And you'll see it lines up with every bolt hole all the way through, like that. And now we're just going to screw everything back in place. There are two different types of screws, threaded ones and non-threaded ones. They're almost like wood screws. Alright, let's crack on. Whoop, whoop. Right, looks like I made a mistake somewhere because it's not sliding up and down. None of these locks are actually engaging now. The only thing I can think of is see through here, there, and there. Those two screws, I've put them in first. So maybe I made a mistake there. And I should have put them in last as well, because you can see the countersinking bit there. So maybe that's the reason. Because the only thing that works right now is simply this. You can't even lock the door. So clearly I made a bit of a boo-boo. Right, remove all these screws again. Whoop, whoop. Right, turns out I didn't make a mistake. The issue is with the new lock. So if you look at this old lock, this little tab here, where my finger is, it's a tiny bit smaller than this one here. And that tiny bit is the difference between sliding and not sliding, basically. As you can tell, it's just slightly too big. So I need to file the edges of this both sides, so it becomes more like this, almost like oval. And that should hopefully allow it to slide up and down. That's the reason it's not sliding up and down at the moment, turns out. So yeah, great that is, isn't it? All right, let's remove it all again. Great. Boop, boop. On second thoughts, I just realized this whole thing is the wrong way around. So see this hole here, that should line up with this hole, with this lock here. So I fitted it the wrong way around. Still got to remove it regardless. Right, whoop whoop. Right, so it all now works. As you can tell, obviously that needs to stay in the hole for it to operate properly, but you get the gist of it. Right, so that's all great. Now one thing is I'm going to grease all this up, especially these little things that move up and down. If I don't grease them now, they're going to struggle later on. So got some grease, a bit of tissue, and clean it all up and grease it all up properly, and we should be good to go. Right, let's crack on. Whoop, whoop. Before I close it all up, I'll show you all the bits that I've greased up. So everything that's basically going to move has been greased up. The locks themselves as well, levers or whatever you want to call them, even that. So at the moment it's in locked position because of that lock, so I'm going to release that, and then you'll see everything is all greased up. Okay, yeah, so obviously because this seems to be coming out all the time, it doesn't line up perfectly. Here we go. Okay, right, let's just put this trim back on, and hopefully it should work exactly as it should. Let's crack on. Whoop whoop. A lot of flapping about, to be totally honest, with this bloody door lock. So I had it wrong. I thought I had it wrong. Yeah, definitely had it wrong once, fitted. So it was kind of upside down, top to bottom, bottom to top. That was the one time. And then I've come into other problems, like, see where this latch is, and it's on a spring. Well, it wasn't very springy. I think it's still not very, very springy really. So if you think about, grab a pair of more grips, and I should pull it further out than its housing, which is very annoying really. Yeah. So what I did is I sanded down, or filed the edges of this metal frame on both sides, but maybe I need to do a bit more, so I don't think it's enough. I think it's still catching a little bit. Without this frame, it seems to be moving in and out freely. As soon as I put this frame on, this extra frame that goes all the way from top to bottom, is when it starts to play up. So, but saying that, it does still catch. So, I mean, yeah, it does still catch. It's not like it doesn't, but it locks very smoothly. Now it does anyway. A minute ago it didn't. When I say a minute ago, quite a while ago. The issue was, see this this lock here, this one, the bottom of that was catching this, so it wasn't quite clearing it. So I was wondering what was catching somewhere, and that was it. So basically I've removed it altogether, and then re-screwed it slightly lower, and that seems to have done the trick. So now it's very nice and smooth. Everything locks as it should. I put loads of grease on all of the holes and stuff, just to make sure that when it does lock, it will lock absolutely fine, which it is. Still got more screws to fit in this. As you can see, there's some missing. Hopefully that will screw it down. But even though this locks, like kind of catches, I'm still not happy with the way it is. I would rather it comes out a bit more. Like you can see from above, like as an example, if I do that, you can see how much it moves backwards and forwards. which I think is too much. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to take this frame, this long frame or plate, whatever it is, off again, and then file it a bit more, because without that it seems to work fine. So I think that's the issue. I think it's just catching a little bit on left to right on that as it's coming in and out. Yeah, like, see, you push it and it just doesn't come out fully, which is a bit annoying. Yes, it does work. I mean, definitely catches. And the idea is for it to catch anyway. That's the idea. And it does. I'm a bit perfectionist. I do like things to work as they should. And so, yeah. Off again. Whoop, whoop. Right, so I found the issue. I think it's these cassette, what they call cassette units. They're meant to be like spring loaded. And if you look at it, it's not doing a great job of it. And you'll see this is how it is. It's very old school. So there's much more modern versions of these and they work so much better. So I've ordered a brand new handle set. You get a complete handle set with the cassette built into it. Get rid of this crap and just you still use the old spindle, I suppose, or whatever this is called, and then hopefully that should cure the problem of it, sort of this bit not coming out all the way. Now it's not coming out at all because obviously the spring is not connected. It's only on one side in, the other side is still on the floor. So I think that's the issue, because I have actually taken it off and filed this a bit more and it still didn't help. So clearly the issue is these. So order the new ones. When they turn up, we'll replace them and show you the finished product. But for now, it does work. So it's all good. I mean, we're going to make the house nice and secure again. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll update you on this as soon as the new handles turn up. Whoop, whoop. Right, interesting, right? So I've actually managed to fix it 100%. So the latch actually does come back fully. So watch. Yeah, springs out all the way. So what I did, in here where there's those cassettes, I've greased them up and I just kept on spinning them around, because you can turn them 360 degrees, just keep on turning, it will just keep on turning. But I put grease on them all the way around, just kept on spinning it, and now I've done it on both sides. That's why it's springing exactly back to where it should be. I don't even need to help it. It's brilliant. But I've still got the new handles because these are a bit wobbly. I don't really like the way they feel. I mean, you can see how much wobble there is on them. It works, but there's too much wobble for my liking. So I've ordered the new locks anyway, or handles regardless. So we will replace them. But I'm just glad that it works. So if we were to close it, voila, that's the way it should close. You should hear that nice clonk. And it should, there we go, and handle up, absolutely beautiful, and no struggling at all, dare I say it. So beautiful. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, very well. Okay, cool. Alright, so there's no need to update, because once I do change the handles, I think I'll do another little follow-up video just to show you what they look like. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Whoop.